Now, I'm seeing this question pop up a lot. Why is the Asian community so quiet on the ICE raid topic? Now, I'm not speaking for all Asian people, but this is just my point of view. My family's from Laos. My parents spent years in refugee camps before being able to come here legally. So a lot of us from a very young age was taught accountability. We were getting lectures after lectures after lectures on doing the right thing. Getting our ass beat for doing wrong things. So there are a lot of Asian people that are for deportations of, illegals. And not everybody, okay? Not all Asian people are for it, but I see most of us are. And we understand why you want to come here illegally and skip the process. People just want to live good lives, do better for themselves. But there is a right way of doing things. So if you do come here illegally and get caught, you need to take accountability for your actions. That's why a lot of times if you see an Asian person get deported, we don't make a big fuss about it because, they got to take accountability for their actions. And they know that. We don't have hate towards law enforcement because, they're just doing their part. They're just doing their jobs because they didn't do their part. And we do feel terrible about, or at least I do feel terrible about, families being ripped apart. But, they know the risk involved and they were willing to take that risk. Again, you got to take accountability. And a lot of people refer Asians as, model immigrants because, we are here to better ourselves, get an education, respect law and order. We just don't want any trouble. We want peaceful lives. And so if we do get in trouble for something that we did, then we own up to it. That's it. So my heart does go out to the families of the deported. Hopefully they can find their way back, hopefully legal, so that they may, live peaceful lives. I wish y'all the best.
Why are so many Asian Americans so silent right now? That's because they didn't vote. Yes, they didn't vote because they didn't like Kamala from their internal misogyny or internal racism and felt indifferent enough about the orange man so that they thought that a no vote was going to the orange man. So the reason why they're not upset right now is because they voted for this. That's why. And that's not me excusing their behavior. I am a disabled person. I was advocating for Kamala before the election, so I had the chance to talk to a lot of my friends. They're not my friends anymore, but people in my life about how this election was going to affect me and people like me. And if they cared about me, why they should vote for Kamala. And they still didn't care. They couldn't care less because at the end of the day, it was all about taxes. Yeah, their tax break. The problem is Asians that have a level of wealth feel this closeness to white people because white people were the only ones that had that level of wealth for so long that they feel like they're getting a chance to be part of the white club, but they're not. And if I could give an insight into maybe why Asians are like this, it's because a lot of our parents and even my generation as a millennial, we have seen our mother countries very impoverished. For me, I'm Korean, so I know South Korea's history. South Korea was fully bankrupt in the 80s and saw their first economic boom in the 2000s. It hasn't been that long, and they're in the top 20 GDP in the world now. That level of wealth growth, normal citizens see that and think, oh my God, if I'm just smart enough and if I invest correctly, I can also get there. And if you look at South Korea, it's an oligarchy. That country is ran by 3 families, and the main one is the Samsung family. And they have so many scandals. They have done some bad stuff, and the country just lets them get away with it. And if you look at the election turnout, it shows that South Koreans are starting to wake up to the state of oh, we're an oligarchy. But Korean Americans, look at the past of Korea, see that you can still succeed, feel like there's a privilege of being in America, utilize the model minority method, and then try to enter the 1%. They think that they could break into the 1%. Wake up. You're not. You're not white enough. You will never be white enough. They will never accept you.
I've been hearing about other minorities asking Black people to show up and protest against ICE. Ask the Asians instead. Our shit's already being rocked. The working class ones are going to be targeted by ICE just like the Latino community. Hell, a bunch of us are already being deported and often to the wrong country. And then as for the richer ones, Trump has already banned all Chinese students from coming to the US to study and has banned all international students from coming to Harvard, which affects a whole lot of Asian international students. So anybody who looks Chinese, even if they're a US citizen, is going to be affected by this. He's put several South Asian countries on the travel ban list. So yeah, brown Asians are going to be affected too. Anyway, our voting numbers look very similar to Latinos. Just over half of us voted for Kamala and the rest went for Trump. We couldn't just fucking listen to Black people when they told us to vote for the Black lady who wasn't going to take all our civil rights away. And now we want them to come save our asses when they're getting whooped? Also, have you maybe considered that the feds want black people to show up to the protests because then they have an excuse to escalate the violence? Then they have an excuse to call them riots. We saw what happened with the peaceful protests in 2020 after George Floyd was killed by a policeman. Also, if you've been paying any attention at all, black people have been showing up to support Latinos who are potentially being deported. Look at all the videos from Compton. Just type Compton in your search bar. So why don't we do this? Why don't we let black people make their own decisions? Stop expecting them to be your personal avengers. Mobilize the Asians. I know that if I'm in front of a cop at a protest, he's going to think twice about doing anything to me. He's not going to give me the same grace as a white person, but he's definitely going to give me more than he gives a black person. And if you can't go to a protest, just fucking say something, especially if you live in California. Asians, I know there's a lot of you over there. I was born in the Bay Area, so I feel like I should say something. Anyway, yeah, mobilize the Asians. Stay safe out there.
My God, it's actually quite funny anyways. First, hi guys, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. It's Sonia and I'm back again with another mind-blowing video. So this is the problem with these Asian people or Asian American that I would say is feeling that sense of always doing what they feel like this is what it should be. You understand? And you guys don't need to be crying then. There's no need of them crying because recently, if you check the videos that is actually circulating, is these same Asian people calling out on blacks for blacks to come support them here and there, east, west, north, and south. I'm not judging on any part right now. And I'm not saying that what the Asian people are doing is quite right. But if at some point of your life you feel like you don't need any support from anybody, you should not also call for help. You understand? You can see the back and forth between the black woman and then the Asian woman. And she even have to give to her mom so that her mom can like explain in details and why Asian people are just on their own, why Asian people are just on this. Right now, we are not even supposed to be talking about being separated from each other. What we should be talking about or what we should focus on is how we can actually come together to build American and so that American can actually stand. But it is obvious that in as much as some persons are trying, some persons don't even feel anything about it. So when I saw some of the Asian videos actually circulating online and they are crying for black people should come and help them on their deportation, probably I'll just do another video after this one so that you guys can actually watch. I was like, how? Where is this one coming from? Why is it even supposed to be? You understand? Anyways, let's not keep discussing and then forget other parts of this video because I have nice clips for you guys to be able to watch. Then we'll come back and talk more about this. But anyways, let's move.
I came across this video and this content creator is asking, why hasn't anyone asked the Asian community for help? Let's watch her video and then I will help answer her question.
And it got me to thinking, you're right. Why haven't the Latin community called on the Asians that's in California to go out and march and help? Why is the call of action only to black people? I just really want to know. Because they call themselves the model minority. So they're supposed to be smarter, more educated. This is all per them. Why haven't y'all called on the Asians?
So since I'm an Asian American residing in the state of California, I think I can best answer this question. We, the model minority, as you state, the more educated one, is always the more sensible one. We have been taught to learn common sense. We don't follow anybody. We were taught by our parents to think for ourselves. Now, I'm going to tell you more, but let me hand it over to my mother and she can explain to you in her native tongue why there hasn't been a call for action.
នាងឯងអត់មានមកហៅកូនអាស៊ីធ្វើរបស់អញ្ចឹងទេកូនអាស៊ីយើងគេខំចំកូនគេតាំងពីទូចដល់ធំប៉ុណ្ណេះគេឲ្យកូនគេមករៀនសូត្ររលុយរស៊ីឲ្យមានអត់មានមកធ្វើអ្វីខុសច្បាប់ទេគេបញ្ជូនកូនគេមកស្រុកអាមេរិកគេបញ្ជូនឲ្យកូនគេមករៀនឲ្យដឹងទំនៀមទម្លាប់រស់ស៊ីមានបានរត់ទិញផ្ទះទិញឡានអត់មានមកបានមកធ្វើអ្វីណាខុសច្បាប់មកឲ្យជាប់គុកជាប់ចេះទេម៉ែឪនាងឯងអត់មានចេះបដៅនាងឯងទេយីកុំមកហៅកូនគេមកធ្វើអញ្ចឹងកូនគេមិនទៅជាសដូចភូមិហងឯងទេ
Let me know if you need translation. I'll put it in the next video.
I missed a lot of tags, a lot of duets because my comments have been flooded. But Momo did a duet and she wanted to talk about my post when I asked the Latin community why haven't they asked the large section of Asians that's living in California for help. And I know a lot of y'all said that there's no call to action for Black people to help. It is, and that's a lie. So the lady stated that she's not helping and she's Asian American. She even got her mom to say something in Mandarin. I don't know what she said. I didn't further research it. I don't care what she said. But the point is that she's not helping. And that's my point. Every minority that comes to this country comes here off the backs of our ancestors and off the backs of our work and benefit, and then choose not to help others. That is my very point. Now, I'm not saying all. I'm not doing an overgeneralization, but anytime that something happens, the call to action is always to Black people, despite the harm that comes to Black people when helping. That is the point. We should be able to say no and we not get called trigger names coming back towards us. So we're sitting this one out physically, but we can still do something else systematically. And I'm going to try to be the bigger person and ignore all the hateful comments, all the hateful tags that I've been getting, because it has been a lot, which truly backs up the reasons why I said that everyone should sit out. If you choose to go out there today and you're Black and something happens, that's on you.
Recently, a South Asian man from the UK came on here and he said that his mom told him that anywhere he's in the world, if he needs help, find a Black woman. And there are hundreds of women who took it as a compliment, rightfully so, because that's their right. And they're being called mammies and whatnot by another demographic of Black women. And while that is their right not to feel that it's a compliment because of their lived experience and their relationship with their Blackness and how they exist within their society, I'm not here to undermine that. But I'm here to speak to the women who are being called mammies. You're not wrong for taking it as a compliment, because not all of us have the same lived experience. Not all of us grew up in oppressive societies. Not all of us see helping as a burden, right? I can speak for myself. Growing up in the Caribbean, growing up as a Dominican woman, there's never been a time where my kindness was gendered, where kindness is gendered, where help is gendered. The men help just as much as the women. There's not this overwhelming burden on the women to be good people. You know, I've never not felt supported by the men in my society. I've never not felt protected by the men in my society. I can depend on the protection of the men in my society. There are many times where I've seen certain things happen. I'm like, West Indian men would never just stand by and let this happen. Those of us who did not grow up in individualistic societies, we don't see help as a burden. We don't keep a tally. We don't see it as something transactional, because it's not just us doing it. It's the society doing it. So I help you, you help me. It's just part of being a good neighbor. It's part of being a good person. And we are allowed to have that attitude towards helping, because 9 times out of 10, when we look around, we're helped every single day. You know, like I grew up in a community where if you don't have food today, you can tell your neighbor and they'll give you food until your paycheck comes. Or if you can't get to work because you're low on cash, you can talk to the bus driver and be like, okay, at the end of the month, I'll pay you back. And they'll drop you to work every week. Or you can go to somebody and be like, hey, I'm low on cash. Can I catch a ride with you this week? And they'll bring you to work every day. Like, we're not deprived of support. So therefore, the idea of depriving other people of support is kind of weird to us. So you don't have to feel bad because you took what he said as a compliment. Okay? The women who aren't taking it as a compliment is because there's imbalance in their lived experience, not through any fault of their own, just because they live in an oppressive society. They have not been helped. They have not been supported. They have not been given what we have. So therefore, they can't take these things as a compliment the way that we do. So while I will not discredit their experience, because it's very real and it's very hard to watch, and I wish they had a different reality, but we shouldn't be made to feel bad because of ours and our responses, because we're able to hear these words differently. So it's hitting our spirit differently. I'm not saying that there aren't any, issues and nuances within our society, but as a whole, historically, we don't exist in a space where we are not also given help and support. To my sisters who saw that as a compliment, hats off to you. Don't feel bad. Being kind feels good to me. Being unkind makes me sick, because it's not me. And nobody and nothing, not history, not anything, will cause me to not be me. And don't let anybody bully you into thinking it's cool to be unkind when that's what you want to be.
I just feel like personally, if the Asians already have so much orientations about the black, blah, 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 east, west, north, and south, don't call for me. Do not call for us. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like this particular clip that I'm playing here that you guys are seeing, you can see what this particular Asian lady is actually doing because a black guy is actually standing close to her. You can see her covering her nose, holding her nose as if something is wrong. And these people are not just fond of doing this just in American, right? Even in some of these African countries, I don't know what they take people for. You guys understand what I'm trying to say? Like, my sister has personally had like a clash with this Asian woman because of this same attitude of when you just see black, it's just looking like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Anyways, let's not talk too much so that this video will not even be more lengthy than it's supposed to be. See, you only ask for help for people that you're willing to help. So if during the time of vote, you never came out to vote, if during the time of support, you never came out to support, do not expect that now that they're going to be deporting you massively, I'm going to come and help you, or we're going to come to help you. I don't know if you guys know what I'm trying to say. In this particular page, we don't promote violence, but at least there should be an helping hand where each and every individual is supposed to help each other. Now, don't get me wrong, and I'm not still saying that there are not good Asian people out there. They are. But I've seen it that one of the major things that's actually been affecting them is the mentality of their brought up. They are brought up. What my parents say, if you're watching 99% of their videos, is either what my parents said about the black, or what my parents said about this, or what my parents said about black American women, and so on, black American men, and so on and so forth. Forgetting that as far as I'm concerned, we are all one. You need me and I need you. You need me and I need you. So when I started seeing their videos flying and they are crying, oh, the black should also come and help them, and deportation is hitting on them hard, and so on and so forth. Nah, I really don't know what to say. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think is your opinion about this in the comment section. Like, I really, really want to get your opinion about this, because the way things are going right now, it is actually not funny. But definitely we pray that God make everything softer and let American just be the American that we usually know, because that's what I keep saying. I just want to go back to those days of, oh, this is how the American is, and this is how peaceful, this is how this is how that. Most of the things we're hearing recently, it is actually not too friendly to the ears. But who are we to judge? Baba is on the seat and there is nothing we can say. Anyways, let me know what you think is actually the issue in the comment section, like I said. And if you have not subscribed, do subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share for every other person to get this good news. And yes, with no further ado, I'd like always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next update. For now, bye. I love you guys. Mwah.